Hello, this is Jay Yashar of showandtellpromo.com/design. In this video, I want to share a technique called posterizing. I came across the idea to do this when I saw a recent blog with a picture, as you could see here, of our President Barack Obama in a posterized style. And I said that would be something cool to show maybe a newbie or someone that wasn't really sure of how to achieve this effect. There are a lot of ways to do it using anything from Illustrator and Photoshop to some of the more simple programs. There are techniques in which to do this that can take hours, and I wanted something simpler, something more user-friendly. And so I came up with a method. It's not the greatest or the most accurate, but I think it's good enough to get the job done, and just to be able to show you a way to do it so that you can have fun with it and begin to experiment and move on from there. So let's get started. I'm going to be working in GIMP 2.4.4. By the way, that picture was done by an artist named Shepard Fairey. He's an artist out of Los Angeles, California. And so, I just thought that I'd show this to you. So we're going to use this lady here. I chose her because of the clean background, an even toned face, even though she's got the little freckles or whatever, that's fine. But the white background, really helps. You don't have a lot of distractions and whatnot going on behind the image. It kind of helps. But anyway, let's get going. And the first thing you want to do is get your layers palette up, and you want to create 4 separate copies of the image on 4 different layers. There's 5 here. 4 to work with the background image we're going to use as a reference. So we're going to hold on to that, and working from the bottom up, we'll go with that image. We're going to use the threshold feature, which is under colors. Now in Photoshop, you have pretty much the same type of it's going to be a similar setup, the similar process. So follow along, and you should be able to pick up the same titles and the same different effects and things and accomplish the same thing. But anyway, I'm going to go in here, and for some reason this is not working. You got to make sure you've got these other layers turned off so that you can see what's happening. But anyway, so as you can see, there is the image after about a 50% of the threshold has been applied. It knocks out pretty much everything, washes everything out. You get this black and white, almost positive negative type of an image here. Now that's going to be good for the base, so we're going to go ahead and accept that. And for the next one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do it for all the layers. The only difference is, forgot to select the right layer. Let's cancel that. Select that layer, threshold, there you go. And we're going to bring that slider over to the right a bit, and it brings in a little bit more detail, so you can actually now see the lips, a little bit of the nose and the eyes. We're going to accept that. Up to the next layer. Same thing. We're going to slide that all the way over a bit more. And by varying the amount of threshold applied, you can get dramatic effects in varying gaps from your shadows to your midtones to your highlights. And I mean, you can do 50 layers if you wanted to with varying amounts of threshold applied to get even more detailed. You can smooth out the edges a little bit more to get it more fine-tuned. But this is a quick and dirty example that I'm doing for you today, and something that you should be able to pull off in 10, 15, 20 minutes or so. And for the final one, we want to slide it all the way over, just exposing the highlight areas. Click OK. Alright, so now when you're through, you should have your layer palette. Should look something like this. So now we're going to go ahead and turn all of these off except the top one and the bottom. Reason being is we're going to work on the, well, in this case this one is titled background copy. We're going to work on this layer, but I've kept this layer on because what we're going to do, let me turn it off for a moment, I'll turn it back on and explain that. But we're going to fill in this area with color. Now if we just take the paint bucket and dump color in, then it's going to flow throughout all of the white area. We don't want that. So to keep that from happening, we can turn on this top layer, which has a whole lot more of the image blocked in. Turn the opacity down to about 15% or so, and use this as a guide. So now, making sure that the layer that we're working on is exposed, we can go in and paint and kind of get that, fill that line in, so that once we dump paint in here, it doesn't flow throughout the image. So having said that, let's turn these off for a moment. Go to our reference layer here, get the eyedropper tool, and we're going to sample the darker area of her face to get that color. Now come back, turn those layers on, make sure the layer that we want to work on is selected. Get our paintbrush, get a decent sized brush, and come in and give her an outline following along the guides of that top layer. And you want to make sure that you connect the stroke here with the black that's already represented there. You don't want to paint over the black area, but you do want to connect with it, because if you don't connect, then once you dump the paint in, then it's going to find those gaps, and that's going to cause a problem. And we'll see if I've done it right here in a minute. As I apply this paint, it should stay within the lines. Good. Now see, if I hadn't done it right, then it would have flowed all the way out, filled up all the white area, and that's not what you want. Then what we want to do is get our paintbrush again, because there is a hairline here. You might be able to see that, and you want to plug up as much of that as you can.